But first, happening locally here. Carson City deputies are investigating an officer-involved shooting that happened just as we rung in the new year. As Kim Burrows reports, the overnight call is reminiscent of one that changed the department almost a decade ago.
Carson City deputies knew they were walking into a volatile situation. They say during a domestic situation, a man made threats that if law enforcement made contact with him, he was going to, quote, shoot it out.
It all started New Year's Eve around 10:30 when deputies got a call about a verbal fight between a boyfriend and a girlfriend at a house on Old Clear Creek Road in rural southwestern Carson City. They say the man had access to, quote, substantial amounts of firearms. When they got on scene, they say there was an exchange of gunfire and the suspect barricaded himself in his truck.
The suspect was thought to have been injured, but officers were in defensive positions and could not verify that he'd been injured by that initial gunfire.
Just after midnight, deputies say the suspect came out with a handgun and a second shooting took place. The suspect died at the scene.
Domestic disputes present of the most volatile calls for service and dangerous calls for services.
The Carson City Sheriff's Office says this case is very similar to one that killed Deputy Carl Howell nearly a decade ago. Jonathan Pope shot and killed him in August 2015 while Howell responded to a domestic violence call.
He was ambushed as he approached the house. In this case, the same basic type circumstance occurred. There was an immediate exchange of gunfire as the officers approached the suspect. Sadly, domestic violence terrorizes our country.
5 deputies and 2 sergeants were placed on a standard 3-day administrative leave. We asked Sheriff Ken Furlong about the impact of having so many deputies on leave for a smaller department. He told me it accounts for about 20% of his on-the-street force, but says that all shifts are adequately staffed. In studio, I'm Kim Burrows.